back. So we're back with another episode of Crypto Casuals, where the big man to my left, Cage, and I, we wanted to create a show. We wanted to create a show for the everyday man and woman, traditional collectors, people who've, collected shoes, hats, cards, all that stuff. And they're hearing a little bit about this NFT buzz, but they're not sure what to make of it, right? There's so much noise, there's so much smoke, and we wanted to provide an outlet for people. Hopefully this conversation is one of those conversations that you guys could come back to time and time again, where there's tremendous value, where there's tremendous kind of stories of, hey, this is how I came from sports cards to collecting shoes to now NFTs. And I can't think of a better guy to have here. This is actually someone we met, Cage and I, at the Hofstra show, at the Hofstra sports card show. So put that into context here, guys. Sports card collector, NFT guy, tons of value. Stanley Meytin. I hope I pronounced that name right, but just a wealth of knowledge. Stanley, I want to hit right off the bat. You have a million things going. You guys have an awesome podcast called GoatsOnly. How did you get into NFTs? Do you remember like the first day, the first introduction? What got you into NFTs? Because you're a traditional collector.
One of my best friends called me up and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about buying a CryptoPunk." I said, "I don't really know what a CryptoPunk is." He said, "Either do I, but I think it's the next big play." I said, "Can you give me a little bit more background?" All I know is it's an NFT and it's the first ever NFT. The way it was explained to me was it's like owning the Michael Jordan rookie card in a PSA 10. There's only 10,000 of them ever made, and we're gonna buy it. And I said, what are we buying? What's an NFT? He said it's like a digital image. I was confused. But this is somebody I trusted. This is somebody that got me into sports cards. I called up my other buddy, Yasi, who I co-host Goats in the Metaverse show with, and I said, who's been in crypto since 2012 or 13. I said, "Dude, what's a CryptoPunk?" He said, "CryptoPunk is the NFT you want to own if you want to get into the NFT space." Now, Yasi was trying to get me into the space for like a few years now and was telling me about Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these great things. And I'm just like, yeah. You should really check out sports cards. But, I had success in sports cards and I said, listen, what if this is the next big thing? And why wouldn't I diversify? And the concept of this is the first NFT and there's only 10,000 of them. And obviously I went ahead and did my research and everybody I asked and said, CryptoPunk, what does that mean to you? First ever NFT created. That's like owning the first ever honus, right? Like you have a chance at history. And that's how I looked at it. And as a card collector, it clicked for me, even though 10,000 is a big number.
Very big number.
But at the same time, it's the first ever, right? Like it's the first ever sports card. It's the first ever NFT. It made sense to me.
It's interesting. Your story's not, it's not too rare. Like that's how many people have been getting into the space. It's just that phone call from a trusted friend, a trusted advisor to say, hey, I'm not sure what's on the other side of this, right? Because I think it's important to admit this. We still don't know what NFTs fully are and what fully are capable. We're kind of in this period of, we've seen a few of them go astronomical in price. We've seen quite a few scams, but the actual utility and the actual use case of it is still yet to be determined. But it's always interesting to me what makes somebody, kind of risk averse, I would say in your case, versus somebody who would get that same phone call and be like, I'll jump into this in 3-4 years when it's a little bit more developed.
100%. I mean, I have a different outlook on it, right? Like I have friends of mine who are financial advisors and who play the stock market, and they're like, hey, we're up 68%. That's not interesting to me. What's more interesting to me is bigger gains. The way I look at it, 68%, I'll continue reinvest into myself and my businesses, and I could up those returns. That's how I always looked at it. But when I'm looking at something saying 10x returns, 20x returns, 50x returns, 100x returns, and we're talking about in a short period of time, yes, there's a lot more risk involved. But at the same time, I looked at my kids. I looked at them playing Fortnite and buying skins. And when I first saw it, I thought it was stupid. But then when I started playing Fortnite with my kids, I said, I kind of think there's no reason why I won't spend $10, $20, $30 on a skin, right? Because it's kind of cool. It makes it interesting. It makes it fun, right? Like, it's no different than me going and spending $30 or $50 on a movie, right? So that outlook on skins and looking at NFTs was like, well, now I could actually own this character that may be in a video game, right? And I own him. I have like he's mine. That's how I looked at NFTs.
Cage, Ian comes to you. He says, for Christmas this year, I want an Oculus. And I want you to buy me a Meebit so that I can exist in the metaverse. What do you say to him?
I'll tell them Meebits are stupid. Let's get you something better. But the answer, of course, is they're already kind of doing it. I mean, they play Fortnite. They play these games. My kids play Genshin Impact and are always getting additional characters. They're already doing it. And people I work with have Oculus. I guess where I go with it, Stanley, I love hearing these stories, right? And Andrew's right. A lot of this stuff starts off with, it's a call. I was reading Twitter today. I'm not going to call out who it was, but I was reading Twitter today. And somebody posted, hey, I joined the crypto NFT space to get myself generational wealth so that I could avoid the rat race and I could, not do a 9 to 5 like everybody else is doing. And I've succeeded in that 10 times over. And it's somebody who's, done well and has nice little content for themselves now. And, certain projects kind of, try to milk them, for lack of a better way of saying it. But, there are people who did do that. There are people who did that 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. There are people who were able to do it. Even yourself, who got that phone call, if you pulled the trigger on that CryptoPunk, you did great, right? There are more people out there who were told to buy CryptoPunks when they were, $35,000 to $100,000. I'm using fiat terms, like you told me to buy one, and I didn't listen because I'm stupid. The majority of our audience now, they're people who got in the last couple of months. Right. And I guess where I go immediately in my brain, that's what makes me an asshole, I guess, is yes, there are a lot of people in the space who made money. There are a lot of people in the space who were early. And I was telling Andrew about this before. I mean, you could just look at the charts, right? It's, cards is the same thing. A lot of it's the same thing. If you're early enough on something that's successful, it almost didn't matter what you got in, right? It didn't make a difference. If you were in this in February, rolling your Top Shot money into anything that came out, right? Not just CryptoPunks, Bored Apes, Cool Cats, whatever came out over the first half of the year, you did fine, right? You did fine. But what about the people who came in the last couple of weeks? Your analysis is sound. Your kid is still playing Fortnite. Your kid is still doing skins, right? So the NFTs that are coming out, the raccoons and the bulls and the winter bears and the whatever the heck else is out there that's coming out, that people, they've watched the people who were in it 6 months before them. And we're not talking about like a generation before them. We're not talking about Horace Wagner here. We're talking about things that are a couple of months old.
Yeah, same calendar year. Isn't it funny? It's same calendar
money, right?
year.
We're calling something a blue chip that didn't exist in 2020. It's amazing to think that, right? We're calling things blue chips that are months old, okay? So let's just make sure we're all aware that's what we're doing. And maybe they are blue chips in this space, right? Because maybe months over the course of, a couple of years that the space has been around, maybe that is enough time for something to be established.
The Metaverse is only 2 years old, so months.
No, the Metaverse is like a week old. Mark Zuckerberg invented it last week. So, but
Meta.
Sure he did. He invented the infinity sign. Yeah. So, but for the folks who are listening and saying to themselves, all right, it's still valid, right? Like, okay, so my skin can't be a CryptoPunk because I'm not going to be able to afford it, but I want to get in now, and I want to buy a dumb dog, whatever the heck is coming out this week.
Right. Well, so here's and this is the problem with, I guess, everything, right? Like, I get people hit me up on IG all the time. Hey, can you give me some advice? I talk to everybody. My DMs are always open. Glad to share any insights and provide value. Not financial advice. I'm not going to tell you what to buy. Correct. But I asked the question of like, okay, you want to buy an NFT. first question is like, how much money do you want to spend, right? Mm-hmm. And then the question is like, what the answer might be, I want to spend $200, right? And it's like, all right, well, just understand that you spending $200 on an NFT, the chances of you hitting something like big is very, very hard, right? Yep. Like it's not where you're straight up gambling, right? You're putting $200 on a roulette wheel and trying to pick a number. Now, what you could do, and this is what I say, look, start checking out art that you think is cool, following designers that have a following, and start buying stuff like that, right? Because maybe there is a chance that it'll pop, right? That artist is going to become, successful and famous and continue to blow up, right? But at the same time, now you have something that you can look at and you actually enjoy, right? And you're not following the FOMO or the money grab of a copycat of some NFT that gets launched on a daily basis. That's kind of like what my intake on it is saying. That's what I would do if I had $200 to spend, because you could buy really cool art for $200 and, hopefully it pops. But look at it popping in a year, 3 years, 5 years. The chances of those NFTs with the raccoons, they're not going to be around in 3 to 5 years. They probably won't be around in 3 months, in 6 months, and 9 months. Now,
Coder, you want to give us an update on the raccoons? I know you got a message from the developer. I didn't mean to cut you off, Stanley, but our
you let him right into it, right? Because they're not going to be around for a year. I don't even think they made it a month.
I don't want to give an update on that. They broke my heart. There was like the one final nail in the coffin was one of the founders came onto the Discord and said, basically everyone has slowly left the team. We have no intention of ever reviving it again, and we have no intention of giving up any of the rights or the money that we've earned from it. Pretty much good luck, everybody. Bye.
At least they were honest.
Closure.
Can I add a filter system that I've developed? I think you need and there's probably more buckets than this, but I think you need to filter through these lenses. Is it an anonymous developer team? Okay, that I think of as a penny stock. That 99 of those anonymous developer teams are going to go to zero, maybe one pops off. Then you have an artist, Damien Hirst, that type of thing, where he's had a tangible artwork before, and now he's moving to the NFT space. Blake Jameson's another one. Okay, that's a little more safe. This guy's established, he's done some stuff. Then you have guys that are kind of like influencers, photographers that have a following, that they're also moving to the space, but they're not traditional artists. And then you have business person NFTs, right? I think if you're able to kind of separate those into 4 or 3 different buckets, however you want, you're able to analyze the market a little differently and have different expectations. Like a business person's NFT, like Tom Bilyeu's, more than likely that's going to be a slow kind of steady growth. The penny stocks, theirs might go astronomical, but they also might go to zero. Do you agree with that? That's an open-ended question. Cage, Stanley, I want to hear both of your thoughts, because I'm just trying to process everything that's going on my end to make good decisions.
Listen, I think no matter what, you can make money in NFTs. Let's take it a step back. How much time, effort, and energy are you willing to put into this, right? So well, that's the problem. Everybody wants a one-hitter, right? Like everybody wants, you tell me which NFT to buy, and then I cash it out, right? Like this is why people, pay handicap to pick games, because they can't do the research themselves. Here, I'm going to give everybody not financial advice tip of how to make guaranteed money in the NFT space.
Listen to the Whatnot show with Cage and Andrew every Sunday morning, 10 a.m.
I am muting. I'm muting. Everybody who knows us, I do not mute ever. But when somebody says we're going to get guaranteed how to make money, not financial advice,
guaranteed. Ready?
I'm muting.
I'm going to tell you. Go to YouTube, okay? Type in Axie Infinity. Consume 12 hours of content about Axie Infinity. Axie Infinity has done over $2.5 billion in sales since existence. It's a play to earn video game, okay? You could buy an Axie for anywhere between $300 and $1,500. And you could play Axie and make money on your Axie, okay? Now, here's the best part. You could hire somebody in the Philippines, in in a country that doesn't have the same economic wealth as we do to play the video game for you. And they could make you money as you sit at home and do it. Okay? You could probably make somewhere between $300 to $500 a month residual income off your Axie. Now, in order for you to do that, you have to do your own research to figure out, how do you play the video game Axie? How do you buy the right Axie? What is the strategy? What actually needs to happen, which is not hard to do. It takes time. And you could go find somebody. There's thousands and thousands of people in these countries that want to play this video game full time. Okay? Right now, I'm telling you this. How many people are actually going to take the time, go figure out how to play Axie? I'm going to say less than 10%.
It's the research plus finding the right person and steering them in the right direction, right? Like it's a combination of learning how Axie Infinity works.
Right, but the good thing about Axie is there's literally thousands and thousands. You could go do a Twitter search. They call them scholarships. There's companies that are doing this and have dozens and dozens of people that work for them. There's more demand to play Axie than supply, because the national average salary in the Philippines is, I don't know, $100, $200 a month. So now they can play video games and make $300 to $400 a month or $500 a month. It's a no-brainer for them, right? They can't afford the Axie, so you loan them the Axie, right? And you have a split with them.
Give us the 101 on this, because this is compelling. And what's good about, Cage, we've done 4 different shows, right? On Crypto Casuals. Everyone's going to be different from the rest. And I think that's because of how, this is really the wild meta west, so to speak, where with sports cards, it's way easier to, okay, I need to find sports cards of these grading companies. I need to go back to the GOATs. It's a lot simpler. Here, there's just basically chaos. And you've kind of found what you believe is a little bit of nugget of gold, but you still have to search for that gold. You've kind of found the location, but you have to search for it.
You have to do the work, right? I'll give you another tip. Go buy a CryptoPunk. Go spend $500,000 in CryptoPunk, close your eyes, and in 10 years, it's going to be worth 10, 20, 30x. It's simple.
Are CryptoPunks bulletproof? Because the community certainly feels like they are.
Listen, I have spoken to some people who are like, it's like buying a really expensive Rolex or a really expensive Ferrari. We're not, there's investors, there's people that are going to buy a CryptoPunk and they're not going to sell it. Like, you think Jay-Z is going to sell his CryptoPunk and make $1 million profit on it? You think he cares about the million? Or do you think he looks at it from a completely cultural perspective and saying, I associate with this character? Do you think
that's Jay-Z? How many of the 10,000 you think are actually in circulation? After being lost in wallets and the whole 9 yards, right? Let's call it 7%, right?
No,
so let's call it 7,000. You want to call it 9,000?
I think more.
The higher the better.
9,000. Let's call it 9,000.
People tweet all the time about that one wallet that has 141 in it that can't be accessed. I figure that's one wallet. How many of them else can be out there? Let's just say all 10,000 are available, right? How many of them are held by Jay-Z's?
One. Jay-Z has one.
Not just Jay-Z. I'm talking about people like Jay-Z. People who are going to fall into the category of they buy it and don't care. 10%? Because the rest of them are people who got them free. People who got them, who got them in the beginning, who claimed them. People who bought them on the way up. People who bought them for, a couple ETH. People who are holding them. And people who have watched them kind of go up. They've probably flipped a bunch recently. But I would imagine probably 10% is in the hands of the uber rich. There's probably a nice sweet spot in the middle, several thousand, that are held by people who, they're well off. But the fluctuation of a CryptoPunk between $250,000 and $1 million actually means something to them. And then the bottom chunk is probably people who this is 90% of their wealth. You know what I mean? There's a good chunk that they are CryptoPunk rich, right? So here's my negative thought on the bulletproof CryptoPunk, right? And whether this is not my take, but just my theory for negative, right? You're right. Those top 10%, they're never going to sell. That's never going to come to market, right? The Bored Apes are like the next best thing. We've already seen a couple times with a 2-day sell-off of Bored Apes go from like 50 to 40, 40 to 30. I think they're sitting at like 30 now. They've gone down into the 20s. And I've seen the floor on those kind of crater over 48 hours where people who are in it at like 33 are selling it at like 29, right? It happened in Cool Cats recently. Cool Cats back up to 7 as we record this, but one sold for 4.8 yesterday, right? And those things were, for a second they were touching 20. They had 10. Obviously,
he impresses me too, Stanley.
So,
there's more than meets the eye with him. It's not just perfect hair.
So what
I didn't check how much they're worth this morning. I'm glad.
Yeah, 7. Right now the floor is 7. They were like 5 and change, 6 and change, but they're 7 right now. Exactly 7 as we're recording. But I say that because those are clearly not bulletproof, but they help drive the CryptoPunk and vice versa. You know what I mean? Those are like the next thing. Those are what people can get into. They can trade up to. People can color up to. The people who have done well in this, that they can't yet get that CryptoPunk, right? I think part and parcel with Bored Ape and CryptoPunks, they kind of moved almost together. Right? One pulled the other, right, and the whole deal. And if apes can move down, I believe, if there's an NFT winter, like we've seen some evidence of potential starting now, right? Where a lot of stuff is going down. People have not made money over the last couple of months. Crypto's going up, but the NFT, value of majority of projects that have come out over the last month or two has gone down, right? So what happens if those CryptoPunks, the rich people are not going to sell them. They don't care if it goes up, goes down, you name it. What happens if, that middle realizes that, all right, these are not going to double this year. These are not going to quadruple. It's kind of been in the window that it's been in, right? It's kind of been where it is. Let's start selling, right? I'm going to sell a couple. And the people on the bottom, that good, let's call it 10% quarter, are like, shit, this is my whole wealth. I got to start selling too. It wouldn't take much for, I'm not saying for it to crater, man. I'm not saying it's going back down, to 30,000 or even 100,000 or whatever it is, fiat prices. But it wouldn't take much for a run to start knocking those down, just like it didn't take much for the run to start going up. And the Jay-Z holding those, they're almost irrelevant. Because just like he's not going to sell when it goes from 500,000 to 10 million, he's also not going to sell if it goes from 500,000 to 100,000. Right? He's not, he's just irrelevant.
So let me, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but here's some counterpoints. One, I think the Bored Ape Yacht Club holders is new money.
Yes.
Right? It's people that got in at the right time. They minted it. They bought it for 1 ETH, 2 ETH, 3 ETH, whatever.
Yep.
Right? And you're right. Like those guys that bought it for 1 ETH and now it's 30.
Yep.
Right? Like if shit starts to fall, they're going to sell because that is connected to their wealth. Mm-hmm. CryptoPunks, I believe, is a lot of the people that own CryptoPunks, and I'm even talking about like guys that purchased it recently and paid a shit ton of money for it. They bought Bitcoin at probably $300. They bought ETH at $5, $15, right? So for them, like their cost of acquisition is pennies on the dollar. The guys that bought Bored Ape, like, and those are the same guys that are going and breaking records on Bored Ape, right? Mm-hmm. They're not going to buy the floor. They're going to buy the rare ones. They don't care that they're paying $3 million, $5 million. But the floor holders of the apes, yeah, they're a bunch of college kids, millennials, whoever it is, that they got in at the right time. And that's why I think Bored Ape, that's why I actually think Bored Ape is not bulletproof, right?
Right.
I just think they're, from a brand perspective, from a community perspective, it's very, very strong. And I personally believe in the brand, and I think everything they're doing is correct. But look, I think what's going to happen is if there's a lot of people in the crypto space
mm-hmm.
that are not in the NFT space,
right?
And you're talking about guys that are really fucking smart. I had a conversation with a guy the other day. He's been in the space since 2012. I was talking about NFTs. He obviously has a wealth of knowledge, but really his knowledge is in the crypto space, right? These are the guys that are heavily invested into Bitcoin, heavily invested into Ethereum. They're invested into all the new emerging technologies, right? And they're not looking at NFTs as a whole separate. It's just another avenue for them to invest. I bet that if CryptoPunks started to really, really, really slide, guys with a lot of money, venture funds, whatever it is, they're going to come in and they're going to scoop those things up because they can afford to wait. They can afford to wait. And if you go and am I buying a Bored Ape or am I buying a punk? You're gonna buy a punk, man. It's silly not to, right? From a cultural perspective, you're buying an ape because apes are cool.
And Stanley, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, those guys are liquid, right? Those guys that got into ETH and Bitcoin in 2012, 13, 14, 15, they're liquid. So if they have, 500 ETH that they bought
let's do the math.
ETH here and there, right?
Let's say somebody put 100 grand into Bitcoin in the beginning, or
Well, hold up. 1 ETH is 1 ETH. I keep hearing. I don't know what it means, but it sounds provocative.
But it's not, right? I mean, if you bought ETH for $15, you put 100 grand into it. What is it worth today? I mean, let's do the math. Like, you could go swing your dick, right? Like, you could go and buy whatever you want to buy. It's just that simple. And there are plenty of guys. I don't know what the data on that is, but like, I've heard stories. I've spoken to people. I've met people that've been buying crypto. And some of those people they don't even believe in NFTs yet, right? Like, they're like, we'll see what happens because we don't care. Let's wait until, or, maybe they bought one or two along the way. And maybe some of them are the ones that are buying the crazy art pieces of X copy and stuff like that, right? Like, they're the ones that are holding wealth, right? And now we're going to get into a whole new territory. Once Coinbase opens up, 16 million users, I think the floodgates and NFTs are going to open. And
they haven't already.
What?
So I hear that a lot, Stanley. What does that mean, the floodgates are open? Because, the Coinbase thing is great, right? I love it. It's great news. It's going to bring a lot more people into it. But that doesn't mean shadowy coders, raccoons are going to be revived.
No, not at all. But you know what it is going to do? How hard is it to open up a MetaMask wallet?
Hard. We've learned that with our.
Very hard.
We spent a lot of hours.
A lot of my days spent teaching people how to open up a MetaMask wallet.
Yep.
I do not get compensated for this. I do this because out of the goodness of my heart, because I want to see friends succeed. But it's hard. But once Coinbase comes in the market, you don't have to open up a MetaMask wallet anymore. You can just go buy it right in the platform. How easy is it to open up a Coinbase account? Very easy.
Very. I have a theory. My theories are usually off, but sometimes they hit. Like, they're like NFTs with anonymous developers. I think this whole rise of this whole new world is from the disenfranchised. I think this is the people that have looked at their parents. They've seen that, our parents have worked hard. They've worked 9 to 5 jobs. They're stuck burdened with debt. They have to get a college degree, which they're burdened with student loans that they can't write off. And here's this 2008 crisis, right? Where the government bails out the rich again, GM and the banks and all those guys. And here comes this new system, Bitcoin, okay? And it's like, whoa, if you're an anarchist, anarchist like this, not like anarchist like XXX and Anarchy 99, you remember that movie? An anarchist like, dude, I think there should be a better world. I think there should be a financial system for us middle.
By the Vandals.
I know people are gonna. I'm sorry, people are gonna hit stop on our show and they're gonna go buy XXX because that's like a great recall. And then here comes Bitcoin. You get some very early adoption, and then here comes ETH, right, and Ethereum, which is so much bigger than Bitcoin in terms of. Wait, this is a whole platform. Now we have smart contracts. Now we could build on top of Ethereum. Oh, and we have ETH as like a currency. And now they start creating this whole new world, right? The metaverse. And now they want to start collecting art and things in the metaverse. So I think that this community is so interesting. And I love seeing all of these kids get rich. Because before, all these kids would go to college and they would be 200K in debt. Now maybe they go to college, maybe not. But they're coming out with 200K in equity. And how exciting is that for a future that we have kids that want to, because kids are our future, the kids that get to choose what they want to do instead of are forced into what they want to do. That to me is like the bigger picture if we kind of forget about only investing.
Is it still possible? No, is it still possible? Because right now what Stanley's telling me is that we should have indentured services in Philippines to make our money. Right? Like, that's the future of NFTs.
I'm just saying that there's ways to make money. And you have to figure out which way works for you. Here's the one thing I will say to you, right? And I think here's the other interesting part. You mentioned kids. Like, 529 college plan, right? That everybody I know is putting away for their kids, future college, right? And I don't know I'm not financial.
Let's educate people on that real quick. It's a tax-free plan where out of your salary, tax-free, you can put money.
Yeah, you can put it away, and there's some percentage residuals you get every year, and it gets compounded, and hopefully by the time your kids go to college, it pays for their college fund. So what about if we use that argument now with crypto? What about if we were putting away, probably 10% of that money into crypto on a weekly basis, what is that going to be worth in 18 years, right? Like there's now just different ways to do it, right? I think traditionally, when you start, you have your IRA, right? You start your 401k, you start investing. And like, people don't know about investing. Like, where do you learn about investing? They tell you at your job, that you're going to now have a 401k. And like, most people don't even know what that means. They're just putting money away for the future. Or, if you're wealthy, you start getting a little more wealth, you start hiring a financial advisor. But the roadmap is pretty much the same, right? I think now you just have different avenues of where you could do very limited amount of research. And by limited, I mean, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 hours worth of research and actually build a financial plan for you for the future. I don't think I have the brainwidth to, spend 50 hours of research on finances, on like, the financial markets and have the same success I would in crypto. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I just think there's,
Stanley, how is it any different though, right? How's it any, like, people listening to this and be like, all right, well, people made Bitcoin. All right, fine. So people made money in crypto. People made money in ETH. People made money because they were in it and they bought it at $300 and they bought it at $500 and they bought it even last year, Ethereum, right? But it's here now, right? And it's at a price, and yes, it's at an all-time high and right now. And the tougher part is the going forward, right? So we're taking a snapshot right now. Your stuff makes sense if we're putting it in a 401k, that it continues to go up, that those crypto punks are really going to 10x, 20x, 30x, that Bitcoin's going to continue to go up. It's almost like, you could say the same thing for almost anything, right? If I went back in time a couple years and bought LeBron rookie cards, if I went back in time a couple years, I bought Netflix or Amazon stock before it turned into something that we knew was going to be here. But buying it now doesn't guarantee even a positive return at all going forward on any of those things. As a matter of fact, people bought into LeBron rookie cards early this year, and they got shellacked. They got killed, right? So
maybe 10 years from now they won't, right? Like, I mean,
maybe, but maybe next year, maybe next year. Go ahead, shoot, man. I mean, I'm just trying to compare it to like other investments.
I had this conversation with my mom, right? So she has a 401k at her company. She puts money in. But to me, the biggest thing is you have actually no control, right? Somebody else takes that money and puts it elsewhere.
Yep.
And yeah, you could call them and jump through all these hoops and things like that. But it was a system created for you to give your money to a financial advisor and he or she deploy it.
Yeah, with limited options. I know mine has like 5 things you can invest in, and that's it. Limited.
And then if you want to start your own brokerage, well, you have the pattern day trader rule where you can't actually day trade this because if you don't have 25,000 or more, you have to be an accredited investor. The markets are only open 9:30 to 4, which is asinine. So all of these kind of, and all the best trading, we've talked about this, institutional trading, they do it overnight, right? So you have this system that's created to make the rich richer, the people in power more powerful, and this middle and lower class, it was really difficult for them to color up, which is one of your favorite theories, Cage. Yeah. Now with crypto, yeah, not everyone's going to be a winner, but at least the opportunity's there and it's a bit more of a playing field. Theory. Rip me apart. Tell me I'm an idiot, Stanley. I'm curious your take.
No, I think it's just more accessible, right? Like, you're able to do the research. Like, like, I don't know. Are you picking financial advice from a financial advisor on YouTube?
Never.
Like, you're not.
Cage.
You're not.
The flip side of it is this, right? So here I am. Don't let me throw ice water on the whole thing, right? If just like Stanley was saying, if you pay attention, I'm not a Bitcoin expert, not at all, right? As a matter of fact, you can go back to some episodes of our little show in January, and I'm like, you got to explain Bitcoin to me like I'm 3 years old, right? But Andrew will tell you, I watch, I consume, I research, I look at charts, and this year, I bought 2 Bitcoin under 30,000 a month and a half ago. 2 months ago, right when I called the bottom, right, Andrew? Like, legit, that day, I was like, today's the bottom. I'm buying 2.
And you got lucky, right?
Yeah, lucky.
You got lucky.
Well, I was watching the charts. And I was watching how Ethereum and Bitcoin kind of move with one another and holding. I'm like, okay, we just had one of those diversions between the two where I know Bitcoin is going up. Now, here's the funny thing, Stanley. Before I toot my horn too much, I paid $60,000 for 2 Bitcoin and sold it at $73,000 like a week later. So I was, even as smart as I was to call it, I did not write it out to now and make, 70 grand in 2 months. I held it for a week and boom, like I took some profit and was done. So
but I guess what I'm saying is we just have more access to data. We have more access. I the way I look at it is I was really like, when I started to make money, right, in my 30s, I was like, all right, so now I have money. Now I have to figure out, what do I do with this money?
Yep.
And I started calling financial advisors. And I said, I want to start investing into stocks. I want to start but I want to learn. I want to get an education. I don't want to just give you all my money and you manage my money, because I want to kind of understand what's going on. I want to be interested in it. And I spoke to I don't know, a dozen guys, and none of them were really that impressive. I wasn't really and I understand why. I didn't have enough money for them to be like, well, we're going to hold your hand through this process, right? It's not interesting enough to them, because the money they make is it's pennies, right? But at the same time, even from an NFT's perspective, if you talk to somebody in NFT, I could literally reach out to the top 10 influencers, probably besides Gary, because he's busy, and they'll talk to you. They'll help you, walk you through the NFT process. It's a more welcoming community. You could learn. You could jump into a Discord, ask questions, be as dumb as you want, and people will answer those questions.
So Stanley, if next year the NFT market as a whole takes a 50% haircut, you think those people are still going to be reaching out to you to help you? So I think the difference is not just accessibility. The difference is everybody you're talking about has made an absolute monstrous killing. So of course they're willing to help you. They're all sitting there swimming in a gold mine like Scrooge McDuck.
But at the same level, if you go reach out to the top investment bank and ask them to help,
because last year they got
they don't fuck off.
They got killed. They never would have helped you.
They're not gonna.
I don't know.
I want to hear from Shadowy Coder.
Yeah, I've heard a few people mention that there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of things you can go research when you're talking about NFT projects. I don't know if I know what you're talking about yet, because if I think about research, I think about the stock market, how you can go research the fundamentals behind each of these companies, and how you can see how their stock price tracks with their earnings and things like that. It's a lot more real world. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of research you can do there. But what kind of research can you do if you were trying to predict, the Bored Ape Yacht Club? There's no fundamentals, and it's not the same, at least. There's no earnings projections and things. So how is it that there is, quality research that you can do in the NFT world?
Good question. Well, first of all, I look at NFT, I look at Bored Ape Yacht Club. Buying a Bored Ape is you're buying a share of a stock, right? You're an investor in their company. There's 10,000 shares and you own one share. That's how I look at it. So if I'm buying this ape, do I believe in the founders? Do I believe in the product? Do I believe in the brand? Do I believe in the community? And I'm gonna invest with them, down the line, right? I believe long term, I'm gonna win, right? And I'll answer your question in a second. Garyvee, for example, right? If Garyvee came up to anybody 3 years ago and said, I want you to invest into Vayner, or I want you to invest into my new startup, and it's gonna cost you $50,000, right? People would write checks left and right. They would go sell their house to go invest into Gary because they believe in Gary, right? And that's what he technically did. He said, I'm selling 10,000 NFTs. You're an investor in VeeFriends. You own a share of VeeFriends. And now people are getting tremendous returns. So that's how I look at NFTs. To answer your question, is there a way to do research about NFTs? Yes, everything is open source. The data is incredible. My favorite tool I use is WGMI.io. You could pull up that chart and it gives you literally, to your point, right? We could have sat, if we did the show yesterday and we talked about Cool Cats, and Cool Cats were 4.8 or whatever they were, and we could have said, you know what, guys, let's all throw in, 1.25.
One scaredy cat took a WETH offer of 4.8.
Yeah,
the floor was never below 5 and change. But one
5 and change. Let's say we all threw in 1.25, right?
Yep.
And today we could have flipped it for 7.
Oh no, the guy who bought the one for 4.8 flipped it an hour and a half later for 5.9. It's exactly what you're saying, Stanley.
But I mean,
look at it. It's right.
the data is there, right? Now you have to have some balls to do it,
yep.
right? And you got to have the ETH to do it. But the information is there. The information, I'm sure if you don't have the if you don't have the balls and day trading or buying equities or bonds or whatever you're option trading, like you're not going to make money either, right? Like you got to be.
Stanley, everybody talks about like Gary and the big, the big come up on VFriends. I'll use that as an example just because you raised it, right? So if you bought into Gary's project in the beginning, you're doing fine. But if you bought into it in the week leading up to, or 2 weeks leading up to his Christie's
23
auction,
you're not doing fine. I agree.
And you have bought any time since, or even in the couple weeks leading up to that, you're getting shellacked. You're down like 50%.
Can I say something about that?
Of course. That's why you're here.
Why the hell were you buying Gary's project at 23? Why?
For the same reason.
You're buying it because of FOMO, though. You're buying it because the people that got shellacked were trying to trade it, man. They thought it's going to go up, right? And they're going to flip it. There were flippers that got stuck. That's why the market came crawling down.
How do you tell when FOMO starts and when FOMO ends? Like, if you get into CryptoPunks right now, is it FOMO? Like, did you miss it already? How do you know when FOMO starts?
I think whoever's buying a CryptoPunk right now at $500,000 believes in the long term and believes it's going to be worth $5 million. I don't think anybody's speculating at CryptoPunks at $500,000.
But that happens in every industry, right? Like we just saw that this year with GameStop too, right? It was FOMO people.
I lost money on it. I did it.
We all do it. Stanley, I mean, you right before this, we were talking about people buying Mahomes cards, right?
Yeah. I'm down on Mahomes cards. Yeah. But here's the difference. Too. And we were talking about cards before we started. And here's the difference. And I have a lot of money invested into Mahomes. Okay. And I bought Mahomes not now. I am down on Mahomes this year, right? Here's the difference. I'm not listing any of my Mahomes cards. I'm not trying to. I believe in Mahomes long term, 10 plus years, right? Now in 10 years, that's when I'm going to judge if I made the right decision or not. But that's how I buy. That's how I look at it. When I'm looking for it, can I hold this for 10, 15, 20 years? People are looking at it as like, holy shit, I bought something for 1 ETH and now it's down to 0.8, so I'm going to sell it. What?
Listen, you're 100% right. I mean, there are projects out there that, that promise the world, they promise difference, and, they don't even sell that many. And yet after 4 or 5 weeks, people are, oh my God, where's the value? Where's the value? It's been 5 whole weeks.
So
where's the value in this?
I follow some weeks? I forgot who it was on Instagram, but somebody posted they were doing it was like a clothing brand, and they were doing a sale, and I think they sold something for $20. And then like the next week, the item was $15. And somebody wrote in and said, can I have the $5 difference because now you're selling the item for $5 cheaper? That's how I look at people that are complaining about something going down, right? Like you're not ready to buy or invest, right? You're making a financial investment. You have to really believe in it. You have to really love it, and you have to be able to hold it. Now, if you're doing it to flip, then you should be able to take the punch in the eye, right? And you take the black eye and you move on to the next one and you move on to the next one.
And by the way, I love that take because I have taken plenty of losses this year, and you have to say that. And Stanley has, and he comes on and he says it, right? So it's not, this space is not, oh, we're all geniuses. Let's get on here and talk because we all just made wins, right? I got a guaranteed way to make money. Okay, that was an interesting one. But it's not go out there and mint something right now today with gas prices as crazy as they are, or just pick it because, well, everybody loves llamas. So, get on the lovable llama train, everyone. It's got a pretty cool Discord. No, chances are you are going to lose your shorts. So,
and here's the other question that I would ask, right? Like, so right now where people are like, well, NFTs are down, right? You could look at it a couple different ways. You could look at it as far as saying, buy the dip, right? Mm-hmm. What can I buy right now that I believe could be up in whatever, 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever it is? Or what else can I look into, right? Like I think people like Solana, for example, right? Like Solana's hot right now.
Yep.
But you should have been buying Solana a month ago. The smart people were, because they were predicting what's next. I think what happens is people, they get in too late. Why? I don't know. They're afraid to pull the trigger, right? It happens to the best of us, right? But you gotta think about what's next. What's next gonna pop? Let's look at NFTs. Let's talk about NFTs. One of the main reasons my second NFT I ever purchased was a Zed Run horse. I believe Zed Run is one of the best NFTs out there. Why? Because as utility, it makes sense to me, right? It's going to be here 10, 15, 20 years down the line. You're going to walk into a casino and bet on Zed Run, probably in the next 3 to 5 years. So what do? I bought really valuable horses. I'm not breeding them. I'm not racing them. I'm holding them. I'm getting zero return on my investment. I'm holding it long term. That's the strategy I'm taking. Now I could go and buy a bunch of horses and race them and say, I'm not making any money, right? I'm not picking any winners and Zed sucks, because that's how people, that's how people are looking at it. I have a different.
It's an incredible point. I mean, with Zed Run, guys, if you don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong here. So it's an Australian founder who wanted to. I mean, horse racing is like one of the first sports in like history, right? That's the first thing we used to gamble on. He was like, let's have these digital horses. You own a horse and you can race it and earn kind of like commission and money and bonuses, right?
You can race it for money. You
race
like
it for money.
As an owner, you put in money. Everybody throws in whatever, $5 each into a pot, and the winner, there's first, second, third place, and they get paid out.
Here's something that I've noticed, and Warren Buffett does this, right? He invests in dividend stocks. He does so because, and in my opinion, when you have cash flow coming in, you're less likely to have to sell, right? You typically sell or have paper hands when you have no money coming in and this asset's dropping and you need cash. So with a utility like Zed Run, it's so fascinating. Finding ways to add cash flow back into your portfolio without having to sell is the unlock. Now, there's a million ways to do this. You could find a part-time job. You could do consulting on the side. You could invest in things that have dividends or cash flow or utility. But it's changed my game. When I no longer relied on my investments to live off of, and I was like, I have cash flow here. This is just money I put away. It gives you peace of mind, because then you could sell on your own terms versus on the market's terms.
100%. But there's other opportunities that I don't know about, you don't know about, that are being built right now. I mean, and look, I think that you have to try to figure it out if you are in. Like, the one thing I really love about the space, it is really fucking fun, right?
Your community is awesome.
We're talking about playing video games for money, huh? Like that is you're talking about collecting art and like cards, like it's fun, like it's interesting. Like stocks to me are not interesting. I'm not a numbers guy. It doesn't talk to me, right? It is interesting for me. Like I like art. It's cool. Like that to me, and I could have a conversation with somebody about it, and they could tell me, listen, I'm going to make this investment and it's going to give me 7% returns for the X amount of years, and I'm going to say, I like that's cool too. Like I get it. I'm about diversifying, but I don't know, is real estate as much fun as NFTs and cards? I don't think so. But don't get me wrong, I love real estate, right? Like, but I think that's where now you can invest, right? Like even in real estate, now we have platforms where you can put up money and you get a 10, 15% return on your money over the course of whatever it is, right? Like that exists now. That didn't exist 5-10 years ago. Like you could do that now. Like
they're going to start tokenizing really high-end properties too, right? Because in real estate, it's not just about, it's where you buy. Like if you can invest in Santa Monica or Fifth Avenue in New York, you want that asset, but most people can't. And if you tokenize it and let the community invest in a portion of that, it's going to be super cool. Cage, any final questions? I want to ask Stanley about, go to the, how can our community support, what you're up to, talk a little bit
about in the
that.
Metaverse. Yeah, man. No, I love this stuff, man. Stanley, you know what it is? It's there's not a it's optimism, but not like a drunken optimism. There's a lot of like drunken optimism in the NFT space. It's like we're all gonna make it. Just buy another squirrely squirrel, And
So you
boom,
don't
he'll
like
be a
WAGMI?
millionaire next week.
You're
You know,
not-
I
not
mean,
a
no,
not a
that's
fan?
fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Good Morning. I'm okay with that too. But you have to temper it. Right? You have to realize
I think you're
that
okay
it's
with
gonna,
Good Morning.
it's gotta be. You have to still not lose the forest for the trees. You know, and
You do. Listen, somebody texted me the other day and said, and I don't want to call out the project, but did you see the founder of this project at NFT NYC, drunk, like jumping off the stage, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, it's a 22-year-old kid who's an artist who started this project. Yeah, like it could go down south. Like, I mean, but I think everybody understands that, right? And if you don't understand that, you need to have a hard look in the mirror and say, like, do I really get it, right? Or maybe I need to flip my way into a blue chip project that I can hold long term that's not gonna fuck it up, right? Like, like.
Did they
Or
catch
maybe
him
I
when he
want the
jumped
whole
off
league.
stage? Did
I'm
they
sorry?
catch him when he jumped off stage?
He's dead. No, I'm just joking. No, but I mean, like, but yeah, it's the same thing of like, if you're making a financial investment into a startup, how many startups succeed? 1 out of 10%.
No, I mean, and that's why I love having you on, Stanley. And that guy who jumped, I think he was okay. He jumped out in NYC NFT. He jumped out into a room full of jungle freaks, and everybody thought he was gonna be okay, but then the floor fell out on him, so he just kept falling. It's no good.
The Metaverse. I mean,
Yeah, jokes in the metaverse are just not that funny. Go for it, my friend. Go ahead. What do you want to ask him about the goats, Andrew?
Well, talk to us. So, I mean, I think you have the best backdrop in the game. Talk to us about Goats Only. How can people support?
So Goats Only. So it's a little confusing. So Goats Only is my company. I mean, we invest into collectibles and in the NFT space. We are going to be launching our own NFT in 2022, which I'm sure I'll come back on and give you guys some more input on it once we launch. And Goats in the Metaverse is a weekly show about NFTs. You can find us on YouTube, on podcasts. Me and my co-host Yasi, he has a fund in the space. We talk about what's happening on a weekly basis at NFTs. We bring on interesting guests, founders of projects to talk about projects. And we just try to give an update of like, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what projects we like. Here's why we like them. Here's why we don't like them. We also have something called the Goat Vault, where we actually purchased NFTs with our own money and threw it in the vault. Once we hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, we're going to open up the vault. If you're a subscriber, you're going to win some of the NFTs in our vault.
It's pretty cool.
And right now we're over 50 grand in the vault. Cash money obviously goes up and down depending on the value of the NFT market. And yeah, it was kind of like, just like you guys, like it was a way for us to kind of talk about the space and educate people about the space. And, for me, I just love getting DMs from old friends and people that are like, hey, like, it's so good to learn about it, right? I'm not charging a commission, right? Like there's no financial incentive for me, but it's like the more people we could bring into the space that could learn about it and that could get into it and hopefully make some right buys, right? Hopefully they can make some money and, maybe put it away for their kids' college fund, right? Like, and that's, I think, the other thing, like nobody's going to be like, don't sell, hold, diamond hands. Like, I think do what makes the right financial sense for you. And when people say, well, how much should I spend? Whatever you feel comfortable spending. Like that's the other, don't buy it if you don't believe in it. You have to really, like, I don't know what your financial situation is. Like,
you have to vibe with the project. I agree.
Yeah,
that should be number one.
Like literally, I bought this artist I came across on Instagram. I bought his art. It was, a few $100. And then like one of my other buddies was like, well, I want to buy some projects for a few $100, and I recommended his artwork. And I was like, hey, it's a young up and coming artist. I think he's cool. Here's his artwork. And he's like, well, when is this going to go up? I'm like, I don't know. I don't, it might never go up. Right. But if you want to buy, like, if you want to get into NFTs, I think $200 is not life-changing money, hopefully for most, right? And it might be a good way to test the waters, and it's artwork that you own, right, in the digital space. But even like think about what's going to happen, and we're seeing this now, right? Like it would be cool to have a piece of digital art on your wall, right? Like the technology's there. They're already making frames, and I think within the next couple of years, that's just going to be normal. You're going to walk into an office, somebody's house. There's going to be TV-looking screen, and you're going to see some cool artwork on it, and you actually own it instead of, stealing like a backdrop from somewhere else.
I like the tangible prints of the CryptoPunks. Like I see some of my favorite YouTube channels. I think Bankless is one, where they have kind of like the canvas backdrop. In like, a few minutes, like what's the metaverse, right? Like can you, and I don't mean to put you on the spot because I think we don't all know. I think we're just trusting Zuckerberg, right? He's here he is. He created the first Tinder, Facebook, and now he's creating our metaverse. He's basically in charge of everything we do.
Well, I don't think Zuckerberg created the metaverse. I think first of all, I think it's genius that they changed their name to Meta. And I wouldn't bet. I wouldn't bet against Zuckerberg. I mean, everyone said he's crazy about buying Instagram. Everyone said he's crazy starting Facebook, buying Instagram and WhatsApp. I think so far he's made all the right decisions. Look, Oculus too, right? I think the metaverse there's going to be a point in time, which is coming very soon, that you're probably going to go and put on your, glasses, Oculus glasses or whatever they are, and you're going to walk down Times Square or the beach, the virtual beach in Miami, wherever it is, and there's going to be stores, there's going to be games, there's going to be, things that you could buy, and that's just kind of going to be the new normal, right? Are people going to be coming out of their houses and going out to restaurants and doing things like that? Yeah, I think so. But I also think there's going to be some combination of that. And maybe you go to a bar and you put on your 3D glasses and you play a video game while you're having a beer. I think everything's possible, right? I do think that the younger generation, I know Cage has kids. They don't watch TV. They watch YouTube.
Yeah, and I don't even want to leave my house. Now I'm good.
Never
leaving.
Like, think about that. They watch YouTube. Like, I remember when a buddy of mine canceled cable and said, "I'm not getting cable," and we made fun of him for so long. We're like, "What's wrong with you?" I don't have cable anymore. I mean, I have some streaming, YouTube TV or whatever it is, but it's gonna come like. Cable is almost obsolete, right? Like now we have streaming services. It's soon maybe everything's gonna be through YouTube, right? Like soon maybe everything's gonna be done in the metaverse, where you're just gonna go to a movie theater with your glasses on and watch that movie.
Daytime cable from the 90s, like when you would stay home from school and like you'd have to watch like Maury Povich or like Maori or like Jerry Springer. That's all time, man. If I could go back to those days, Cage, what was your show of choice? Like if you called out sick from work, or you were in school, you're not that old. What was your daytime show of choice?
I don't have one. The Price is Right.
Price is Right was a good one. But think about like back in the day, right? You had to go like to the video store and rent the video. Yeah. Right? And like when, like,
dude, movie theaters are disgusting.
But look how many years
you just got me into the metaverse. If I'm going to buy an Oculus, if I could walk my Oculus to the AMC theater and have to have like a token or have to have an NFT to get into AMC and a token for a specific movie to watch a movie, that's a way for them to preserve movies at theaters only, but you still have your fat ass on your couch. Yeah. You know how they had to during COVID make it movie theater only or movie theater and on HBO Max.
Yeah, and look.
It's pretty smart, man.
They could send you your popcorn, right? AMC can now become a popcorn company or a nacho company, and they're going to send you a package, which is going to get delivered by Amazon in 2 hours. And but listen, it's not that far. It's all there, right? Like, and there's a lot of smart people who are going to figure out how to put it all together. I mean, they're doing it right now. Look, Nike's filing 7 patents to get into the metaverse. Like, all these people, it's here. Right? It's going to take time to adapt. But let's go back. Do you guys remember when Facebook came out?
Yeah,
right?
Cage does. He was one of the first on it.
Okay, so you remember did you think when you were on Facebook that your mother would be on Facebook and your grandmother would be on Facebook? No, because it was a college platform, right? Like it was for you to hang out with your college friends. But now
Yeah,
it's
it
a
takes a
platform.
while to adopt, though. I mean, like everybody is very fast forward on stuff. I will tell you, I like where you're going with it, but like everyone's like, oh well, buy a monkey because the metaverse is coming and you're gonna want to.
I don't think I buy a monkey.
You know, like I mean, I implore people to go back and watch the movie Lawnmower Man. Right, that was all about virtual reality in the '90s. Right, they had headsets. They were in the virtual reality world. I mean, the virtual reality, the thought of putting on headsets and being in virtual reality has legit been around for decades. It's never actually come to fruition.
And it will in the next 10 years, right? What 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? It's going to happen. The one thing I'll say about the monkey, and this is like the reason I bought an ape was very simple. I own my ape. The thought of that just made a lot of sense to me. In my mind, I said it's only a matter of time before LeBron James, Nike, Louis Vuitton, somebody buys this ape and makes it into a clothing brand.
Agreed. Like a Supreme type of collab.
Yeah, Supreme collab. Supreme and Bored Ape collab. And what does that mean? I own a piece of that. Now, I don't physically own it because they're not using my ape, right? But I own stock in it, right? So now it drives up the stock of my ape. And to me, that made sense. That's why I was sold on it. Whereas, most of these NFTs, you actually don't own them. You don't own the rights to your CryptoPunk. You don't own commercial rights to it. Apes, do whatever you want with it. Go build, you could go build, a 100-story building and it could look like your ape.
Go use our IP, go use our intellectual property.
Yeah, it's fun.
It seems stupid now, but if we're talking Disney, imagine Disney allowed you to use Beauty and the Beast or some of the stuff that you own. Lizzie McGuire show for you, or That's a Raven Cage. I was more of the Brink guy or whatever. But not Luca Nation, Crypto Casuals. You see? Crypto Casuals. Another episode. I love these. I hope you guys do too. Let us know. There's different shows out there. These are very conversational. If you guys want us to have a bit more of a format, we can go that route. But I thought in the beginning, for the first year of this show, why not just record the conversations we have behind the scenes, put them out there, you guys make your own conclusions, and then go from there. So I think there is value if you guys have an hour, have some laughs, have some jokes, listen to some NFT stuff, and we'll go from there. So hope you enjoyed this episode. Stanley Meytin, GoatsOnly. You can follow him. We'll post this up. Make sure
take
to
a
subscribe.
look at the Goats in the Metaverse YouTube show. With
subscribe. Hopefully you guys win one of our NFTs. We got a cool cat in there.
Smash that subscribe button.
Not a floor
Smashy,
cool cat,
smash.
yeah. Nice cool cat. Smashy.
Whoa. Don't go anywhere just yet. We've got a new segment I want to introduce to everybody. I'm going to sprinkle these in every so often after each of our episodes. We're going to talk about, whenever I feel like we maybe have said something wrong during the broadcast, maybe we didn't get to dive deep enough into any information, I'm going to include little segments like this to hopefully try and give you just a little bit more actionable information for when you're moving through the world, through the metaverse, I guess we say. So a couple things I want to talk about today. One of them is going to be the fact that CryptoPunks were not actually the first NFT. I'm sure probably a lot of you caught that. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into that and correct that statement. Second, we're going to talk about Axie Infinity, what the heck that is. Third, we can go ahead and talk about Zed Run. And fourth, if we have the time, this is a long topic, so maybe we get into a little bit, maybe not. But I'm really interested in how to perform your own market research when it comes to buying NFTs. There's a lot more resources out there about how to do your market research for traditional stocks and other investment types, but not for NFTs yet. It's kind of uncharted. There's kind of less information you can use, but anyway, we'll get into that later if we have the time. First things first, I want to talk about CryptoPunks. So you heard our guest say that CryptoPunks were the first NFT. I think he meant something a little bit more along the lines of CryptoPunks were the first Ethereum blockchain NFT to get really popular, because that's true. They've blown up pretty well. let me give you a quick screen share and show you what the OpenSea page for CryptoPunks looks like. So you've seen these faces a ton. I'm sure they're pretty familiar by now. Let me just highlight this. This floor price, it doesn't exist. Dash, dash, dash. That's in fact, this is the only project that I've ever seen. I think it's the only project that exists that has no floor price right now. It's quite an achievement actually, because what it means is that there are no CryptoPunks for sale. There is no floor. None are for sale. All 10,000 CryptoPunks are being hodled right now. I can show it to you by buy now. Look at this. No items to display. Kind of crazy. But instead of finding a floor price, let's just go find... Oh, look at this. This CryptoPunk just sold in the last half hour. So it sold for 104 Ether, which is about $460,000-$70,000. Pretty good chunk of money. I think this counts as blowing up. Pretty cool NFT as well. I like the Mohawk with the pirate eye patch and the 5-block shadow. I would have bought this guy. I don't have that much money, but I would have. Anyway, so keep it short. CryptoPunks, not the first NFT. If you want to know what the first NFT is, it was actually this guy. This guy's called Quantum. This guy's from back in 2014, so it predates CryptoPunks by 3 years. CryptoPunks came out in 2017. This Quantum NFT actually predates OpenSea by 3 years, and it predates the Ethereum blockchain by another year as well. So if you're looking for this, you won't find it on OpenSea. You won't find it on the Ethereum blockchain. It's actually on the Namecoin blockchain. And recently it sold on auction for about $7 million. So that just clears that up. CryptoPunks were the first, mainstream NFT. But if you're really wondering what the first actual NFT was, it's this guy, Quantum. All right, so we've killed that horse. Moving on. Next thing's next. Let's talk about Axie Infinity. So I don't actually want to get too into Axie Infinity. It really piqued my interest at first when our guest mentioned how it was guaranteed money. But I did a little research. It's really not for me. But I still want to share what I've learned, tell you a little bit more about it so that you know if you want to go dig a little deeper, if you want to explore this world, or maybe this is enough to tell you that you're not interested too. Either way, we win. So let me tell you. I'm going to share my screen and show you what the website looks like for Axie Infinity in AxieInfinity.com. This guy right here, there's a little white paper you can read if you're curious to know more. But in general, and maybe a little bit too reductive, is to say that it's kind of like Pokemon, where you got to buy each of your individual monsters, and each monster has its own, its own kind of attacks, its own power, its own weaknesses and strengths. You can level them up. You can give them potions and things. But basically, you've got to buy a couple of these Axies to create your team. And then once you have your team, that's how you can start earning your money. There's a couple different ways to earn your money. We'll scroll down a little bit farther on the page. You can either use your team in the environment, in the adventure mode, and complete events and things like that to earn a little bit of money. You can also use your team to battle against other people's teams. You can battle other people. When you win, you earn money. When you lose, you don't actually earn it. You don't actually lose any money, which is interesting. A third thing you can do is you can breed. You buy your SLP, your smooth love potions, and then you can breed your Axies together. You can create new Axies. Those new Axies can be sold on the secondary market, which leads me to something I want to show you what the Axie Infinity OpenSea page looks like. So first you'll notice there's 283,000 items. So this isn't one of your typical NFTs that you might be used to so far in this space. The value here is not determined so much by supply and demand. Typically you'd see maybe a mint cap of 10,000 NFTs, but here the supply is nearly unlimited. So it's not the same kind of value calculation that you would use for a supply demand kind of NFT. This is a game NFT. You make your money by playing the game. Maybe you resell your Axie for later for more money or whatever, but you make your money playing the game. And real quick side note, just because I think it's funny and because I have to eat my words and I kind of get a crack out of that when I do. Remember how I was talking about the CryptoPunks having a blank floor price. Well, here's an interesting other example. Axie Infinity also has no floor price. This one's for a different reason, though. This one is because the floor doesn't exist. But that's because none of these Axies are being sold on OpenSea anymore. Actually, all of these Axies have been migrated over to a different wallet, a different marketplace, something called a Ronin wallet. So if you're interested in getting involved, you don't go buy your Axies through OpenSea. It just won't be possible. You're either going to have to go get your own Ronin wallet, or you can log into their website and start buying through here. So that's a little bit about that. The fourth way you can make money is by just logging in every day. It's kind of simple. You just log in, do something, and then you get paid out 150 SLP. So what is an SLP? An SLP is the native coin on Axie Infinity. Let me show you the coinmarketcap.com website. Shows you that one smooth love potion, one SLP, is worth 7.8 cents. And if you log in every day, 150 SLP is going to earn you $11, $12 every day. So you can slowly earn your money back. It's definitely possible. He was right. There is guaranteed money here if you're willing to put the time in. The catch, though, a little bit of a catch is there's a little bit of an upfront cost. In order to buy all of your Axies, you're going to need, bare minimum $500. You're probably really actually looking at maybe $1,500 in order to get a decent team that can actually compete and earn money faster. So consider that $1,500 to get in. It'll take you some time to earn it back, but you can earn it back through adventures, arena battles, and breeding, and all that stuff. But this money thing really had me thinking, because I was worried that this game, it seems too good to be true for everyone just to be getting money paid out to them every time. Like I said, if you lose an arena battle, you don't lose any money. So where is this money coming from? It feels like it's just too good to be true. And that's because this it is a little bit, right? There are certainly ways you can lose money here. In fact, it is a zero-sum game. So any money that you are earning, someone else is losing somehow in whatever way. They're not actually losing it; they're just spending it, I guess, right? So it is a zero-sum game. There is potential to lose money. You're gonna put some initial investment in when you buy your Axies, right, and things like that. So just watch out. It's really not like, there's no advertising in this Axie world. So it's not like you are earning advertisers' money. You're not even earning, the Axie Infinity company's money. You are earning another player's money. So when you earn money, someone else loses it. So it is a zero-sum game. Just watch out for that. But again, it does make sense. I can agree with what he said. It's guaranteed money if you have the time to put into it. And that's what brings us to what he was mentioning, which is these scholarships. And the scholarship kind of, there are some people in the world who have lots of money and no time. There are some people in the world who have no money and lots of time. And the scholarship brings those two kinds of people together, where someone with money will buy, put the funds up to buy a good team, and then we'll hand that team over to someone who will actually use that team and compete with it every day. And that's where the money sharing is. And I looked a little bit into this. The scholarship do seem legit. The contracts seem legit. So if that's something you're interested in, it does seem somewhat safer than I first expected it to look. So maybe you're interested, maybe you're not, but there is potential to earn some money. And that's just a brief overview of what Axie Infinity is. Go back to YouTube and do a little bit more research if you're still interested. Go read this white paper if you're a little more interested. Go read about these scholarships if you're still more interested. There's certainly some money to be made here. And you know what? It looks like a fun way to do it too. It's a little bit more fun than just buying and holding an NFT. You get to buy and play and hold your NFT. So those are mine. So Zed Run. Let's talk about Zed Run. I hadn't heard of it before our guest mentioned it. So I went and did a little research. If you're interested too, I'll share it with you now. Let you know what kind of just the basics of what Zed Run is. It'll give you a taste to see whether or not you're interested or whether you can just let this project go. But let me first show you what Zed Run looks like. It's a horse racing platform. It's blockchain horse racing, where each of these horses is its own individual NFT. And so there are owners who go out and buy these NFTs, and then, this takes us into the money portion of it. There's a couple things that are upfront cost. there's a couple ways that you can earn money. The two upfront costs are, one, you have to go buy your horses. We can talk about how much they cost in a second. And then two is entrance fees for each of these races. There's a small fee in order to put your horse into each of these races. It'll range somewhere between $2 and $150. So budget for about $15, maybe $20 for when you're starting out with, lower end horses. That's where your money expenditures are. And then the way you earn money is by winning these races. So the top 3 horses for each race get some of the prize money back. 60% of the prize purse goes to the first place horse, 25% of the prize purse goes to the second, and 15% goes to the third. Everyone below that, they lose their entrance fee. They lose whatever money they put in, whether it's $2, $10, $15, $150. So that's how you lose money. And also just be aware, this is another zero-sum game. It's almost negative-sum game too, because the developers are taking some money off the top through each of these transactions. So the money you earn is money somebody else lost, right? So just be careful, because that person that's losing money could be you too. So just know that. The nice thing to know about this, though, that there is some level of strategy you can employ, because you do know if your horse, for example, prefers a certain race distance, and you do know the fatigability of your horse, and you know a couple other things that help you gauge its ability relative to other horses. So you can kind of curate which races and which horses you compete against in order to increase your odds. So that's a good sign. But at the same time, on a basic level, it still is some form of gambling. And if that's what you're interested in, this is a great place to go have some fun, learn a little thing, and have some, make some money. But let's take us over to Zed Run right now as well on OpenSea. This is their page. If you're interested in getting started, you can go buy horses here. And then what you do is you attach your MetaMask wallet to the Zed Run website that we were just on. And you can buy your horse here. It looks like the floor price is 0.012 Ether. I don't recommend buying that horse. It's obviously not done very well in its races, so let that one go. It'll just suck your money and won't pay you back anything. The other thing worth mentioning here is there are 143,000 horses that exist. This is another project just like Axie Infinity, where there's there's no upper limit on the supply. So the way you earn your money here is, it's not like these typical NFTs that have 10,000 limited mint. There's no supply and demand curve that we're solving for here. This supply is nearly limitless, so the way you earn your money is through playing the game. And if you're interested in playing the game, again, check it out, zed.run. This is where everything you need is to get started and have a little bit of fun. So let's call that the conclusion for today. I know I talked about topic number 4, which was to get deeper into how we all pick which NFTs we want to invest in. Frankly, that's just too long of a conversation to have, and we've already gone a little bit over time. So I'm going to save that for another day. It's really important, and I want to give it lots of time and attention. So I'm probably just going to make an entire new episode out of it and leave it for then. But for now, I hope you got something out of this conversation. Just something to help you, move through this world a little bit more informed, get some little actionable insights on, what your next move is when you're investing your money. As always, be safe out there, learn, study, make sure you're making good decisions, and have a little fun. So again, thank you for being here with us. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. All those things are really important feedback for us. Don't forget to comment. Tell us what things you're interested in, what questions are on your mind, difficult conversations you're having with your friends. All of that stuff helps us help you. So let us know, and much love. Thank you guys. Talk to you later.